Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Yalek, and it is Thursday. And that sculptor is rather sad, but anyway, it's Thursday and it's War Factory, and we're going to have a look at that. Actually have that saved as a loadout here. Okay. It's kind of the standard setup that I often need on War Factories, but well, building health 324%, HQ health nearly 600,000, 594 almost, which is a lot. Rockets, lasers, more lasers, laser beam 3s. Oh my. Well, alright. Well, normally, grappler? Really? And a Doom Cannon just for giggles. Well, cool. So, I mean, I did complain last week, I want to say. Might have been the last 2 weeks, to be honest with you. Hard to remember anymore, but I definitely remember complaining last week about having a very boring layout of a very standard War Factory. This one is a pretty standard War Factory, you know, like oldie but a goodie, but this layout is for real. Wow. This is just deadly all around. Real cool. I mean, so the prominence of lasers might lead me to say, you know, armor would be good. Tanks in particular, because you can shock these guys. RZCM, you'd have to hack a whole lot of rockets. And either way, you still have the lasers to deal with. That's probably not it. If you are going to use just Zuka, I mean, you're definitely going to want to set this up a good bit. Let's see. If you have a kill zone up here above these sniper towers, there is a good place to stand there, but you're looking at a shock on the mortars, a shock on the lasers, a shock on the lasers. Maybe you hack these 2 shock launchers out. Will they die? I think with the boom cannons and such in the area, they will. That's also hard though, because shock launchers, you hack them thinking they should die, but then they shock the things that are supposed to be killing them. Probably this shock launcher would be focused on the snipers and the flamethrower, so I don't think the boom cannons might be free. This one I don't think you'd have a problem at all, but this front shock launcher could be a problem, so then you need to hack separately, so that's a resmoke, which is fun. Being honest with you, yeah, so if you're using Zukas, then you might hack a little bit over here, and then, like I said, shock, maybe you hack over there. A couple of hack runs, and you should be fine. In fact, that might be the way to go. So if we're set up, I don't love that spot, because the Zukas are going to be fairly far from the HQ, and they're going to spread like crazy. Plus you still need 4 shocks for it, or at least 3. Let me see. Yeah, there's a good bit of hacking there. I would like to get rid of all 3 of those rocket launchers, and then shock launchers over here. Honestly, it's not a shield base. It might take a couple hits, but I think I'm going to go back to the bread and butter over here. Actually, here's a thought. Where'd you go? Definitely need a barrage up near the HQ. Have to clear some mines. I am hoping to get away, if I can do this, with minimal shocks. I think bullets should end up, if I use warrior, bullets should end up standing somewhere along this area next to one of these two towers. I'm hoping that he'd get the attention of all of these lasers, and that he'll definitely get the machine gun and flamethrowers and stuff, but he should come out of smoke first. Hopefully his taunt will get at least 3 of them. I'm hoping that these 2 on the sides would also focus on him, because he's the first thing that they should see. That would allow me to use just 2 shocks back here. Shock the mortars and one of these boom cannons, and then a shock really just on these shock launchers, because that's all we're really worried about here. The flamethrowers won't range. So, barrage, 2 shocks, hoping that bullet and taunt will go a long, long way here. That will definitely range, but it's only a laser beam 1. That's going to range bullet, unfortunately. Like I said, he's going to be standing here, 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 somewhere in that area. That will definitely range him. But it's a laser beam 1, so hopefully it won't be too bad. Grappler will not range him. So, gonna need 2 smokes on the beach. Uh, 10 smokes, most likely. Flare, flare, flare at the very least. It's kind of a lot. Let's go find somebody to practice on here, and it doesn't matter who. And yeah, taunt, and then well, the 21 is just for our flares, so beach, flare, flare, flare. 3 flares to get to the HQ, and that should leave us with an extra taunt. And a little bit of GBE for medkits. Yeah, right, let's get out of here. So a little bit of GBE for cheap medkits, and that is one of the very few offensive boosts we have in our tribes right now. Medic healing 50%. I didn't even do a couple of these offense tribes. And then medkit cost reduction. So, hang on, coffee break. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. So the big thing here is going to be planning path. And with a layout like this, honestly, it is always easier for me to try to approach. It's a bit of a longer run from this beach down here, but it's easier because it's straight and it's more controllable. Also, I really need bullet to land, like I said, in one of these 2 spots. He could be next to this, or next to this, but one way or another, I need him standing next to one of these 2 towers. And if I try to approach from this side, then I don't... Yeah, it's going to end up being a bunch of shocks and stuff. If bullet's somewhere down here, then I have to shock this. I might be able to get away with not shocking the rocket launchers, but I still should shock up here, and I definitely need the shock launchers and so on. So I'm thinking just an approach from here, down, this way. In order to do which, probably start on this supply crate and try to get up to this laser beam. Yeah. I mean, this could get fugly real quick. I will be honest with you. Not boosted, I say that, but nobody ever wants to see anybody do War Factory boosted. I mean, I'm not sure anybody wants to see anybody doing War Factory regardless, but definitely not boosted, because what's the challenge there? Alright, that's supply crate. Okay. Lasers. Is it hot in here, or is that just the yeah, it's the lasers. Alright, let bullet catch up a tiny bit right there, and then hey, GBE seems short. So what we're gonna do then is go like this, and like that, like this. I think I used an extra smoke. This might take two. There was a bit of health on the HQ. Do not have the GBE for anything else, so I'm gonna throw this R out. Not bad. Fair. I think I got one more smoke in there than I had anticipated. So that ends up being costly. Figured I would shock this shock launchers. Shock launchers will end your attack very quickly, and was hoping that the lasers and stuff would end up focused on bullet. I think they mostly did, actually. Quick look at that. Want to see what the lasers were doing. Yeah, I think I could have saved one smoke right in this area, but water under the bridge now. Wow, that worked incredibly well with the lasers. Okay. Yeah, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them taunted. This one was not taunted here at the end, but it still, like I said, saw a bullet first and ended up focused on him. So we did have this one guy from the back shooting at us, but not bad. All things considered, the health on that, we said, what, almost 600,000, so maybe like 50k or something left, if that. Well, a little more than that, 64. That's one Bard attack, and I'm not dropping troops. And that should be all she wrote. Okay. So, there you have it. The most economical way in which to do War Factory today. One load out of warriors and a little bit of Bart. I mean, not that anything else is worse or better. Like, actually, it's kind of an ugly layout, and I think that actually might be the best approach. But keep in mind, like, I do have 6 GBE statues. I do have a troop health here, so only 3 damage. Actually, a little bit more damage would be helpful against against a headquarters of that health. But you know, you have to make your choices. So the 6 GBE was not, well, barely enough. And there's always setup hits and stuff like that too. But yeah, actually might not be the worst attempt to use warriors. And I'm not just saying that because, you know, I use warriors for everything, but it might just be the way to go. So anyway, I'm pretty sure everyone in the world will do something different from that, because that's just always the way it seems to be. So I would love to hear what the heck other people do with that layout. Like I said, maybe tanks, or tanks with some, I wouldn't even think grenadiers. Grenadiers would be bad. Too many lasers. So just tanks. Yeah, that might work for you. I mean, if you're, good to know. Pointless, but anyway, good to know. If you're going to do the core rush strategy with Zookas, I mean, that's totally your thing. But yeah, I mean, RZCM is right out because of the prevalence of the lasers there. So I whined about having a boring layout last week, and this is definitely not a boring layout. Lots of room for innovation, but definitely some limited choices there. Anyway, that's my version. You do yours, and let me know how it goes. Like, thumbs up, all that stuff, and I'll catch you later. Take care.